Well, if it's Thursday morning, it must be time for yet another About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series episode. Hello, I'm Steve Casillo. Appreciate you being here today. And I tell you what, I know you're doing one of three things. You're either watching the video. We're doing it live on Facebook right now. It's Thursday. It's about 9:45 in the morning. And you're either watching the video or you're watching the video replay on YouTube or LinkedIn or on Facebook, or you're watching... No, you're listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Appreciate you being here today. These 10-minute nuggets of information that we do throughout the week. And today, we are bringing in our friendly neighborhood arborist. His name is Cameron Scott. Here he is, live from North Richland Hills in his car because he's working. He's out fixing people's trees. And Cameron, welcome back to About Mansfield.
Thanks, Steve. Glad to be here.
And today, I see this all over Mansfield, and I would assume it's all over North Texas. It's probably all over the United States. Today, we're talking about mistletoe and your trees. And chances are, if you are a homeowner here in Mansfield, I'm going to say there's a 99% chance you own a tree. And so this is why we do this series with Cameron each week. And so specifically today, we're talking about mistletoe. And I guess the first question right out of the box is, it really brings it as general as possible. What is mistletoe?
Yeah. So mistletoe, for those who aren't aware, is a parasitic plant that embeds itself on the branches of living trees. It kind of steals some nutrients, some water, to supply its own life cycle. It can produce its own food. It's photosynthetic, but it derives most of its nutrients from stealing from trees.
Yeah, okay, you said it's a parasite, and is it beneficial? Is it a detriment to trees?
So by definition, it's a detriment. However, that being said, it rarely becomes a problem to where there's so much mistletoe that it's actually killing the tree. I'd say probably 95% of the time you have some mistletoe in your tree, it's just part of the environment, part of the ecosystem. It's a Texas native. It's supposed to be here. It's pretty innocuous. I mean, there are extreme cases, of course, but for the most part, it's pretty harmless.
Okay. Should mistletoe be removed?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Solid.
It
Maybe.
It depends.
Most of the time when I get called out to remove mistletoe, it's because number one, people think it's bad for the trees, and then of course we do some education there. But then on the other hand, most homeowners just really don't like the look of it. Included. When I have some mistletoes in my trees, I always take it out just because I just don't like how it looks. It's messy. It burdens these trees up. When it should be removed is when you have mistletoe year after year, kind of in the same branch, and then over time that branch will start to kind of bulge. You might see some defects forming in that branch, and then overall that branch is now weakened because of the presence of the mistletoe. So that either the branch needs to be removed or that mistletoe needs to be taken out.
Is there aside from calling up your local Boy Scouts and giving them the mistletoe to sell and which
Yeah.
Is there a proper way to either extract it from the tree and to dispose of mistletoe?
Sure. So mistletoe spreads by the berries that form landing on branches and seeding into that plant tissue, the tree tissue. So birds will eat the branches, eat the berries, fly to a different tree, poop out those berries, and then that's how that life cycle works. There's been some new the old way of thinking was that if you didn't clean your pruning tools from tree to tree, it could spread that way. That's been found to not really be the case. It pretty much only spreads berry to berry.
And
Um,
I see that a lot with acorns. And I'm trying to remember what the term is where actually a bird picks it up and voluntary volunteer plantings or things like that. But yeah,
yeah,
where a bird will actually aid in the
right.
process of the fact that a new tree is growing, or now in this case, mistletoe is growing as a result of a bird.
Right. Right.
All right. Anything else to add in terms of mistletoe? So it's a parasite. It depends on whether to extract it or not. But anything else to add?
Sure. Most common trees that you'll find mistletoe in include your hackberries, cedar elms, American elms, the mesquite trees, and blackjack oaks get it pretty good. Um, Although it can form in pretty much any tree. Something to look out for if you have mistletoe forming in your oaks, live oaks, red oaks, post oaks, even. Um, that can be a clue that there's something else going on with your tree that is might not be in the best of health. Oaks typically will have enough of a defense system to kind of prohibit the formation of mistletoe. So if it does, that's an indication that its defenses are down, and then that there might be something larger going on with it.
And what would be an example of something going wrong with in an oak?
So it could be as simple as there's a girdling root that's kind of cutting off nutrient flow. Maybe there's a nutrient deficiency in the soil that is prohibiting normal function, something of that degree.
Okay.
Most likely something to do with the soil, though.
And calling up your friendly local arborist to test the soil would be recommended?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so the mistletoe, it's in the tree, it's up there 20, 25 feet. What's the best way for someone to get that mistletoe off of their tree from such a great height?
The easy answer is to call a professional. I mean, removing something that high without doing damage to the tree is pretty difficult when you're working from the ground. The easiest way to do it is from a bucket truck, speaking from personal experience, because you can kind of fly from branch to branch and just take it out. Really, what the way to remove mistletoe, if it's in these small branches, is to just take that branch back to the next lateral branch. So then that mistletoe doesn't have the chance to kind of resprout. If it's in a large branch that you can't remove, then obviously you just have to kind of rub it off, and it will resprout probably. But what you're doing is you're injuring that mistletoe and and preventing it from reproducing. But yeah, call a professional if it's more than what you're comfortable with.
Is it easy to remove?
Oh yeah, it'll break apart in your fingers if you
Okay.
just yeah.
And then call the Boy Scouts and donate the mistletoe to them.
there you go. There you go.
Which I guess is it must be a great fundraising thing for the Boy Scouts, because they're always out selling mistletoe at your local hardware store. And
Yeah.
Anyway, if anyone had more questions about not only mistletoe, but soil testing, trees, how can they reach out to Cameron Scott?
Sure. You can give me a call at my office at 817-656-8733 or shoot me an email at cscott@bartlett.com.
cscott@bartlett.com. We do these 10-minute nuggets of information each week right here on the podcast, whether it's the video or the podcast audio version. Cameron Scott, your friendly local arborist. Let's do this again next week.
Sounds good.